So I thought for part 3, by the way, this is Kyle Tech Tips coming at you hot and ready, like Little Caesar before me. I would talk about, a little bit of batch scripting, and I've made here a very useless and long batch script. But let's talk about it a little bit and talk about the syntax. Because you can use batch to automate things in Windows. So what this script basically does is it runs the user through a series of options that will actually open web pages. And I believe I wrote it really quickly, but I believe it will let you choose. No, it runs them in your default browser. So just to go over a couple things here at echo off, what that does when you write a batch script, basically it's going to echo every command. By echo I mean it will show it in the command prompt as the user runs the batch script. Batch script, by the way, since I had no script for this, that is just a series of commands in command prompt that are pre-scripted so that they will all happen at the same time. So let's talk about some of the syntax here. Mode con calls equals 3200. This isn't important. This was just to make it big. And in order to notate exactly what it does, I use the rim command. You're really only going to use this if you're batch scripting. That is how you make a comment in batch. Batch, again, the scripting language for Windows command prompt. So this one here, set local, this obviously, as we can see, sets the message to issues as a second line. So you can set message here. I formatted this to basically be centered text, and that's going to calculate the length of the string. This is programming stuff. We don't really need to talk about it too much, but let's get on to what you can actually do here. So we're using a for loop. For loops in batch are extremely verbose. I don't recommend learning how to do this. Reason being, this looks like an alien wrote it. There is a much more readable scripting language that Windows made that I alluded to called PowerShell. And we're going to learn about PowerShell. I'm just kind of giving you an example of what you can really do in batch, and albeit it is a rather bad example. But what a for loop does is it basically says for every time parameter happens, do something. So this is for if this happens, do this if, this. So what it's doing essentially, when I run this function, do it, go to do it, right? So what do it does is it creates a string of asterisks of the same length, set header, etc. We're echoing all of that stuff because we want the user to see it. But let's get down to what's a little more useful here. So when I say set, that's how you set a variable in a batch script. So in this example, I use the word choice because this is the user's choice when they run the script. And the choice here would be that gets echoed. Would you like to see? Would you like me to see some cool animals? That's really silly. I wrote this really quick. If you don't choose yes, I'll just ask again, press Y and enter for yes. There's no real choice here. So basically, then you have stage 2. One really annoying thing about batch is they use go-to statements. So, if they choose no, it goes back to do it, which, as you can see, this will just loop forever. If they choose yes, essentially what happens is by entering start, double quotes, and then the name of the website, it's going to open whatever choice you made in your web browser automatically. As I'm recording this, I'm realizing this might be a rather useless video, but it might be some inspo just to let you know if you learn command prompt and batch, which are essentially the same thing, you can make really stupid stuff like this. So I haven't tested this, but let's go ahead and save it. Oh, I guess I did. whatever. At any rate, let's go ahead and save it. And, you know, in the next portion of the video here, I will run it. And we will assess how it works and how I did. So here's the program in action. As you can see, this is that centered text thing I was talking about. Adventures in learning. Press any key to continue. Let's just hit space. Would you like me to see some cool animals? See, this doesn't even make sense. You can tell I just did this really fast. So let's say no. Doesn't care. So I made a mistake. That's okay. Would you like to see a leopard, a dolphin, a bear, or a dog? Press L for leopard, D for dolphin, B for bear, or H for dog. Now my recording stuff is getting away, but whatever. There's an E, you know, option to exit, I believe. Oh, X is the exit. So I don't know what E does. I don't remember. But let's just go with H for dog and see where that takes us. So this will take a user's input. Now I will admit that I tricked you here because I'm a cheeky guy. We selected that we wanted to learn about dogs, but it actually takes you to the hotdog.org culture/hotdog etiquette website. And we did that just by selecting H. So looking back at the script, let's see what other stupid options it gives us. Let's go. Okay, so as you can see here, like I said, I can't remember what I put for E. I believe it's about different locations around the world. So let's hit E and see what happens. So it says, what would you like to learn about? What would you like to learn about? Wow, I really did my best on this. Bird to Will, Snow in Florida, or Dude Chilling Park. Oh right, and I used GitHub for a little bit of this, so I put like to see where I copy pasted the code for the top up here. Press W, that'll take you to the GitHub page for how to make this look like this, kind of useless. Let's learn about Dude Chilling Park. So as you can see here, it took us to this really cool Yelp reviewed site for some place called Dude Chilling Park. No idea why it has a 4.5 anywhere called Dude Chilling Park. In my opinion, should have at least a 5. If we scroll down here, let's see if we can get some reviews. Great park, but the atmosphere is really downgraded when you look across the street. Okay. People getting drunk. But I'm always feeling so judged by David. I have to wonder who David is. Looks like this place is in California. This guy loves it. This guy's memeing. Oh, he gave it a 4. Seriously, who wouldn't come out and check out this park just because of the name? Why didn't you like it? Funky sculptures, tennis courts, whatever. Great for dudes to chill on. Sounds like, oh, the park itself has been on the ghetto side. So he took off I don't know what he means by that, but he took off a star. Yeah. Dude Chilling Park. So that's what we're learning about here. This has gone way off the rails. Basically, the point of this video is that you can use CMD batch scripting to make stupid little scripts like this that let you, the user or yourself or whoever is unfortunate enough to open it, press buttons that will open web pages for hot dog etiquette and Dude Chilling Park. I guess my point to this was inspiration, but my grander point was, you know, I feel like we wasted a lot of time here because, as you could see, the syntax for the batch script was very, very, very verbose. It's very hard to read. And why would you want to do that when you could just script in PowerShell? So, also, this is just kind of a teaser. There is a much more readable, basically replacement for CMD when it comes to scripting called PowerShell. We're going to get to that in a later video, but if you want to goof around and make stupid stuff like this, you can. I'd look into making, as a personal project, here's your homework class. I'd look into making a text adventure. That's how a lot of people learn batch scripting. This can also be a really weird foray into scripting and programming if you've never done it before. I say weird because they still use go-to statements, things like that, which is, you know, kind of antiquated. I believe like older languages like BASIC used go-to statements. And there's a lot of reasons I'm not going to get into why that is not good. But yeah, PowerShell, much more efficient, much more exciting. We're learning CMD because basically just the commands that I've already shown you apply to CMD. There's also a command called check disk, CHKDSK, that is good for troubleshooting a particular disk like your C drive or your D drive. The reason I didn't show it here is because my capture software does not like showing command prompt as admin, so I wasn't able to show that live. Just know that that exists. All of those commands and much more work in PowerShell, so this is what we started with. Kind of a silly video to end the CMD portion of this on. By the way, I know I was using Sublime Text with all that syntax highlighting. You can write a batch script for CMD in like Notepad. You can open a new Notepad document, write all that code if you feel like it, and just save the file, change the file name instead of whatever the Notepad extension is to .bat, and you'll have the same end result. I just use Sublime Text because I like the way it looks. I like how readable it is, even though Batch is not readable, and it looks terrible. But yeah, I made this thing where you can like look at Dude Chilling Park and Hot Dog Etiquette, and there's, you know, like it can take you to like a website about dolphins. It's kind of a useless program, but I just kind of put it together to show you that you can do a lot with CMD, and you shouldn't, because you can do a lot more with PowerShell. So until next time, this has been me showing you my silly little program where you can learn about parks and hot dogs and dolphins and bears and things of the like. If you want the source code, hit me up. Just kidding, nobody wants this program, but if you do, I guess message me. I'll send it to you. You know, you're not going to learn much. Pretty much every link is a prank. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. Love you very much. Want to give you a kiss, and I will see you next time.